Only thing they want to know is, hey, how much money did we make today? And I'm like, and is
Exactly.
that all that I am worth? Is a dollar bill? That's crazy. It doesn't make logical sense. You know what I mean? But that's the way it goes, and unfortunately, we find out these things after it's done, and we
We
want
find
to
out after the fact, unfortunately.
right. We want to change it, but then we have to figure out what we can do in order to change it. And sometimes it's to the point where you just say, you know what, forget it. Now we got a couple of people, man, that's in the waiting area. I guess we gonna pop the first one in and find out who it is.
Let's see what we got in the waiting area.
Let's get the party rolling. Thanks for calling the Voice of the People.
You guys are really crazy. You know that? I've been on hold for 20 minutes. 20 minutes. I just want y'all to know that. 20 minutes, and I was about to hang up the freaking phone.
Guys, back in the house. How are things going in Hawaii?
We found you.
Freaking believable. Like, if I was a guest, I would be like, yo, bump it. Seriously.
No, we gotta do that. We gotta do the intro. That's how we roll. That's what we do.
That's crazy.
What we do have,
but happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. God bless you on your birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday. It's great to hear you guys' voice, and things in Hawaii are going great. Just want to congratulate you guys for all the efforts and everything you've been doing with the show to keep it moving and pushing forward. Mad applause to being on iHeartRadio. That's definitely a great accomplishment for the crew. So I just want to send out those big thanks to all of that. Yeah, that's about it.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
You said we got our other guests on the call as well?
Yeah, I believe we do. Let's see. It's the Voice of the People with Todd Jones, Dean Gerardo, and Mark Lee. Who we talking to this evening?
Hi, this is Cicely. I was supposed to call in at 7 o'clock. Cicely Mitchell from Durham, North Carolina.
How are you doing, Cicely? This is Mark on the other line, and you are definitely looking forward to hearing and having our conversation and everything. For those people that are not aware of Cicely Mitchell is one of the co-founders of the Art of Cool Jazz Festival, which is actually much more than just a jazz festival. It is one of the premier, in my mind, music festivals in the area because they incorporate jazz, funk, hip-hop. They have done all kinds of stuff. They've done Innovate Your Cool, which gets people into learning about technology. So they are definitely a major player and innovator here in the cultural landscape. So that being said, Cicely, we got listeners from all over the place, and I know that Art of Cool gets people from all over the country coming, and even some probably from out of country as well. But if you would just tell our listeners a little bit about how Art of Cool came about and give the folks a little bit of history, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, no problem. So Art of Cool was started in 2011, and we're a nonprofit 501c3, and our mission is to expand the audience for jazz. And so we present jazz almost in every major venue here in downtown Durham. So like possibly like I think it's 8 venues that we present in every year. We're going into our 5th festival next year. But we're a multi-day, multi-venue festival. Is built kind of like how a South by Southwest is, where there's music performances at night and then conference elements during the day on Saturdays. And you buy, various wristbands, different wristbands, whether you want day passes or weekend passes, and you hop around from place to place and you experience live jazz, live funk, soul, hip-hop, and alternative soul and that sort of thing. And so that's what we do. Our website is aocfestival.org for people that want to, listen to our Spotify or, learn more about us. We also do a jazz camp during the summertime. We also do a jazz education camp with kids during the summertime. And we just completed our fourth one here in Durham. We do it every summer, and then we're launching a camp in a couple weeks in Raleigh at Chavis Park.
So y'all are definitely doing a lot of expansions and things of that nature. How did you yourself first get involved and have a love of jazz and everything and find yourself to be one of the founders of Art of Cool?
Well, I've always been like a music lover, but I didn't like study music or music business or anything like that in school. I really got accustomed or acquainted to the scene through the other co-founder, Al Strong, who's a trumpeter and a jazz educator here in the area. So I met him and I started hanging out on the scene and just kind of fell in love with the scene and really wanted to connect the players and the music to an audience. And so literally I started with just taking over his social media, and then we started putting on small shows at art galleries, and that's one reason why we're named the Art of Cool. But we would take over art galleries and flip it into a pop-up jazz space, during popular nights. And so it kind of grew from there. But I felt like the whole Art of Cool thing, that path kind of chose me. So, I just been kind of going with the flow with it.
Because there was definitely a little bit of a jazz scene here, but it was more of a traditional jazz scene, and even that had kind of died off for a while. And then it seems that y'all just came in, and that there's definitely a real rich jazz community here in not just Durham, but throughout North Carolina. Because whenever I think of jazz, I think about North Carolina Central University, which has a real strong jazz program, but not just them, but also Duke and even some of the schools over there in the Raleigh area, I believe Shaw has some music stuff going on, and maybe even St. Aug, and definitely State. But I was wondering,
right.
And of course USC, and it seems to me that y'all have managed to incorporate those into the festival as well, because I've noticed that a lot of the folks that are involved in the festival, y'all do a good job of reaching out to the local folks, but then y'all also bring in national folks and international folks as well. So what was that process like, going in terms of finding ways to, one, tap into the existing folks that were here when you first started, and also developing such a market that you were able to reach out and bring a Common into the area or Bilal into the area? So just tell us a little bit about how those relationships were able to be created.
Yeah, it definitely took time. So, our first year or so, we just tried to present the best artists that we could afford and the best that we thought that were in the area, and we just kind of built our audience and following from there. So our early years really leaned very heavily on the local musician scene. And then the first year we had the festival, we presented Maceo Parker, and he was kind of our biggest headliner at the time, and we wanted to highlight North Carolina artists or artists that had North Carolina roots. And so him from Kinston, really helped us kind of start out what the festival was about. And then we just kept doing shows and partnering up with people. Partnerships have really helped propel us, to being able to booking national touring acts. So even when we brought Common this past year, that was a partnership with Deepak. So we've just kind of proven ourselves, been consistent over the years. Our first few years were really heavy local. And over time, as we got a chance to book, more touring and national acts, the agents start to find out about the festival. The first year, they didn't know anything about it. We didn't even book people through agencies. We just, Al really heavily relied on his network because, he's been a musician forever. So we had people like Christian Scott and, some of his friends play it the first year. And then over time, we just built on relationships and partnerships, and the agents start to hit us up, and we had more resources.
And y'all done a great job of that. And one of the things that I know that even Dean has picked up on, because he's a member of the Jamla Squad, and I know that also Ty is friends with Ninth as well, is that y'all were one of the few festivals around the area that has actually managed to not just tie into the jazz community, but also connect to the hip-hop community. And a lot of times folks even think of those as being separate communities, but y'all have managed to blend those communities together and do it very effectively. So I was wondering what kind of challenges you face with that, and also what you feel the success is of being able to draw both the jazz crowd as well as the hip-hop crowd.
Yeah, so I feel like it's just a natural extension of like our mission and what we're trying to do. Again, our mission is to expand the audience for jazz, and so it's a harder sell for a millennial audience to come in right off the bat and listen to traditional jazz. And so the way that we try to hook a millennial or younger audience to the music is through hip-hop and some of the golden age of hip-hop's roots with sampling jazz albums. So, you know, it was very key for us to get someone like a Maceo Parker who, you know, his work with James Brown has been sampled in a lot of early hip-hop songs. Same thing, the next year we followed up with Roy Ayers, who his catalog, you know, is just so deep and sparked the whole neo-soul movement, which, again, is not exactly jazz, but it has a jazz root to it. So for me, it doesn't seem like it's two separate communities. They kind of are like cousins to one another, right? Like there's an extension, a natural flow from, you know, jazz to hip-hop. You know, all of it being Black American music is the through line.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I noticed that you've used both throughout the years, Knights and Mark Anthony Neal. So what was it like getting those two involved in the festival and kind of almost being key components just about every year in terms of helping to draw some of their fans into the festival also?
Oh, yeah, they're very important in kind of the teaching aspect of what we're trying to do. So usually we'll have somebody like, I think, you know, they talked about Roy Ayers' catalog and how important it was one year. And then last year they talked about Rakim and it being the 30th anniversary of Paid in Full. So, like, they're very important to have involved every year to be able to kind of be that bridge and be that voice of, okay, so this is why we chose these people this year to be on it, and it's more than just coming to entertain you. It's like, hey, this is the link. This is why it's important for us to know about jazz. Is, you know, if you want to be the next producer, if you want to be the next whatever, or just a really good listener or connoisseur, you got to kind of know, like, where this stuff comes from and their motivations. And so they're very key in the conference element of what we do during the festival. And it's an honor to have them. I mean, they are, you know, both of them in their own right as professors, and then, you know, also just Ninth and his body of work. Like, to be able to have him as a resource has definitely been invaluable to Article.
And I noticed that over the last couple of years, you also realized that there was a lot of people that were doing startups and technology and things of that nature. So as I alluded to before, y'all also brought in, like, the whole startup cool kind of thing, which is definitely encouraging business owners. And y'all have even done, like, those campaigns where people are able to make pitches about their business and stuff. So how did that come about as part of the Art of Cool Festival? Because that's fairly new in terms of the lineage of how the festival has grown.
Yeah, we wanted to do something that would be different from just your traditional jazz festival. And so, again, it's just an aspect of, like, what does a younger audience, like, what do they get into? So, you know, we kind of study South by Southwest and Hopscotch First Hopscotch Design Festival, which is a design component to their festival. And it's just to engage people and kind of meet them where they are. Downtown Durham is really booming as a startup hub and a startup capital. They want to be the startup capital of the South. So we really wanted to kind of tap into, that's the type of person that's, you know, moving about the city on a regular basis. And so, again, we're trying, you know, to maintain the traditional jazz listener, but also attract people who might not normally come